Hello, Flosstube. This is my second attempt at this quick update. I didn't realize how much I'm in the bathroom, as I usually am, and I didn't realize how loud my toilet was. It was kind of running. I have an issue with this toilet is that it takes it. I don't know if it when it refills. I guess it runs um, very slow and for a long time, and I didn't realize how loud it was till I listened to the recording, and it's very loud. Um, but anyway, so I wanted to do a real quick update on a few things. Excuse me, I'm getting my things again. Um, so uh, I have a finish and a new start and a couple of other things so I just wanted to touch on them real quick. I have a finish. Santa's finished. He's not FFO'd yet, of course, but I've finished all the stitching. Excuse me. All the stitching that goes on him. And for those of you who have, followed this saga, I talked about how I had tried to use beads on these little stars. That the pattern calls for one strand of white floss and 3 strands of white blending filament. And I tried at first to put. I talked about how I tried at first to put beads that I bought at the attic a couple weeks ago. I tried first to put beads on there, but it was obvious that they were too big and they were kind of more translucent than white, and so it looked better with the white stars. The blending filament and the white gloss. You can't really tell the sparkle, but there's a little sparkle there. Anyway, and I bought some beads that I used on the reindeer, and I had red braid rather than blending filament that I used for the harness for the reindeer. But I added the jingle bells. They're not called for the pattern, but I add them because I thought they looked nice. And then I talked about how I had some gold DMC thread that I used for the star and this little line on Santa's sleigh, because I thought it would stand out a little better. And then this is gold Krynic blending filament. I don't know, it's 3 strands, I think, by itself to be the tinsel in the tree. And then the teddy bear and Santa's eyes were originally supposed to be French knots, like the reindeer's eyes here and I think here. And the French knots came out fine. But for the teddy bear and for Santa, they came out kind of wonky. One big eye and one little eye. And so last Saturday or Saturday before last, maybe Saturday before last, my sister and I had a little stitching date, if you will. And so we went to the attic, and while I was there, I bought some beads. These are the beads that I bought here, and so I tried replacing the teddy bear's eyes with these beads, and he looks a little bit like, he's got laser eyes, whatever. And I tried replacing the French knots on Santa's eyes with beads, and they were too big. They just his eyes looked weird. So anyway, I finally removed them. I left the teddy bear's eyes the way they were because, they're so tiny you almost can't see them. But for Santa, it just looked weird, and So anyway, I finally went to colonial knots. I watched another tutorial because I'd done them some time ago, but So I replaced him again, and it looks a little better. His face still looks weird, but that's all the backstitching mess. Anyway, but the pattern also called for I finished the date. I put 2018. This is just silver DMC that I happen to have, and then this is the Petite Treasure Braid that I bought in place of Chronic Blending Filament. So it's one strand of gray floss and 3 strands of blending filament, and to make the runners of the sleigh. And then a piece of ribbon that it calls for the reins here that are it's secured, stitched on the back. So anyway, it's done. Finally, I did all the back stitching around the deer and the sleigh and the antlers and everything else. The one thing I didn't do was there was some back stitching that's supposed to be on this blanket. Green back stitching on a green blanket. It's supposed to be, I guess it's supposed to be folds of the blanket or something. But it was kind of underneath where these ribbons go. And I thought, what is the point? What is the point? Anyway, so I didn't do it. So there. I did some back stitching on this little cube. It's supposed to be a block. And on this teddy bear, I did some back stitching around him. But anyway, it's done. It's done. It's done. I just had to FFO it now, which is a pain in the butt. But, I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do with it yet. So, there. So there it is. The other thing I did was I finally started my kitty kit. My nephew gave me this for Christmas. Let me see. Yeah. So it's a kitty and the keys, whatever. And it's, the cat is various shades of gray, the white, bib on front. So I finally started it. I had this, the material and everything. I had it for some time. But I finally started it the other day, Monday, I think. And there's already a mistake. But since the pattern is, gray and gray and gray and a little white for the cat, I figured I'm just gonna fake it because you can't really see it. There's a section in here where there's a mistake. I don't even know how I did it, but I did it. I made a mistake. And I'm just going to fake it. Because you can't really, it's like I said, it's a bunch of shades of gray, and you can't really differentiate between them. So, yeah, I'm not going to fix it. The other thing was that I talked about how I had bought this kit, this little pin pillow kit at the attic stoneware kitten. It's a pin pillow kit. And it came with the pattern, and it came with a piece of linen. And the original kit I had, the linen had a little stain on it. And I was able to take it back to the attic, and they gave me a new kit. So it comes with the trim for the cushion, and it comes with a very nicely variegated thread, and it's supposed to be stitched. Oops, 1 over 2, and it's linen, and I'm scared of it, but I'm gonna work on it. But then the other thing I'm doing is when I got together with my sister to do some stitching, she's working on a long dog sampler pattern that she bought, and it's a piece of, I don't know, it's linen or even weave or whatever that she bought for it, and it's she decided to do it 1 over. I don't know if it's a 1 over 1 or 1 over 2 that she's doing, but it's very, she's not used to it, and it was giving her a lot of trouble at first, and but anyway, while I was there, one of the things she did was she was looking through some of her old stuff, and she had this Santa that it was a kit. It came with the cloth and the threads and everything else. But so she had started it and then had set it aside, and she decided that she really didn't want this material anymore. And it's kind of like sticky on the ends because she had used like masking tape on the edges to keep it from fraying. And so when we were there, we were looking at it, the masking tape had was kind of discolored, along the edges, and it left a sticky residue behind. So anyway, so she decided that she didn't want this kit anymore, or the cloth, I mean, anymore. And so she was just going to throw it out. And I said, don't do that. I'll take all the stitches out. And use the cloth because it's a very ugly, it doesn't really show up on the video. It looks very gray on the video, but it's really more of a beige brown kind of color. It's kind of an ugly shade. It's supposed to look, I guess, kind of like old-fashioned somehow or something. I don't know. But to me, to my eye, it's just an ugly shade of brown or beige. An ugly, I don't know what you call this. I don't like it. Anyway, so I have this, and I have like a piece of cloth, of Ada cloth, that's kind of a grayish color. That not a pretty gray. It's kind of a So I'm thinking of of dyeing them. So like this, I would consider a decent shade of whatever you would call that. But it's almost the same color as this in real life. It's hard, you can't really tell on the video. But it's almost the same color. This is a little bit darker. But this I like. This I don't like, the color. So I'm planning on experimenting a little bit with dyeing cloth, and this is going to be one of my experiments. This cloth and the gray one, I think, are going to be my experiments. My older sister is a little more, she knows a little bit more about dyeing in general. She's done some tie-dye and some other things like that with other people, with the developmentally disabled adults that she works with, and stuff like that. So I will probably call on her expertise in dyeing fabric to experiment on these two pieces of cloth that I have. Anyway, so I just wanted to do a quick update on what I'm, on my new stitching projects now. And for those who might be interested in our house saga, my parents backed out of the deal with the person that was going to buy their house, and they apparently recently resold it. The house that they've like I said, they've lived in for almost 60 years. 50. I'm 57. The house is 56 years old. And so my parents have lived there since it was brand new. Anyway, so apparently they backed out of selling it to the first sellers, and they I think resold it recently. And then the house they were going to buy in Gilbert fell through. That person sold his house to somebody else. So we're looking now at a house in Ahwatukee. And those of you who are familiar with the Phoenix area know that's it's just down the road from Chandler, from where I live now. It's not far from where I live. And my older sister one is delighted to live in Ahwatukee. So it's a slightly smaller house than what we had been looking at, but it's in a little bit nicer area, and so I don't know what that's going to look like, but you know, it's an ongoing saga. So I've learned not to hold my breath and not to put all my eggs in one basket, if you will, while I wait to find out what's going to happen. But it looks promising. So it'll be it might be another 2 months or so before we move or whatever. So, like I said, I'm not holding my breath, waiting for that to happen. Anyway, so that's where I am. A finish, a new start, a possible new start in the future, depending on if I start that kitty, the little stoneware cat kit. I don't know. But anyway, that's and then my dyeing project, and I'm still in the back of my head still cooking on that hymn chart project. You know, it's still on the back burner right now. But anyway, so yeah, so that's my update, and I hope you all continue to watch and maybe subscribe. This is update number 6. Apparently, you can find me under Elizabeth Martinez on YouTube, and there's 1,000 Elizabeth Martinez's. Sorry about that. You can look under phantastitches, and I'll try to put that in the title somehow. But somehow it's not coming up as the name of my channel, so I don't know. I'm probably doing something wrong. But anyway, I hope you watch. I hope you subscribe. I have about, I don't know, about 20 subscribers, maybe something like that. So I'm very thankful for those people. And until next time, happy stitching.